Follow the mic, man. You're supposed to get up close. All right, guys, what's up? This frequency control podcast show, rather, almost like your daily check off,
Daily takeoff
take off
checklist.
checklist. I get the check part right.
Oh man, no, you didn't.
I know I said check first. I mean, at least had check in there. I used to
Oh
say I
gosh.
used to say daily takeoff sheet.
Yeah, it's a daily takeoff checklist,
Daily takeoff. I'm almost gonna write it down because it's so
which
bad.
by the way, will help you with this topic right here. Doubt.
All right, yeah. Today's topic is doubt. Will and I, as you know, if you go back quite a few shows ago, talking about masterminding and the power of that. We mastermind, have common goals together, and noticed how lately down our journey, and the more you go and the longer you are in your journey, and it's maybe not where you're trying to be, you experience doubt. You start to talk down to yourself. You start to treat yourself less than you would treat other people. Remember, you need to, number one, respect yourself and treat yourself better than you treat anybody. So, because a lot of times you'll accept bad talk more than you would from anybody else. What are you gonna do? Punch yourself in the face? So you'll accept saying probably the worst stuff you would ever say, that you would never say to anybody, to yourself, because you'll accept it from yourself, and that's unacceptable. So during a long journey, especially a journey where a task is something massive, and you're trying to do more than your average person does, you'll find yourself at some point when you're not necessarily getting there as quickly as you arbitrarily thought you should get there, and you'll start, doubting yourself, talking down to yourself. And Will and I both have been experiencing that in the last few days. So we wanted to talk about that today.
Yeah, I just had a recent experience. I went out in public and did something. Yeah, I just had a recent experience, and during this experience, it was a big like kind of just slap in the face. Um, just everything. When you're on your path of where you're going, it can be a lonely place. And it. I just felt like after this experience, I came back home, and yes, it was inspiring to go through an experience that challenged what am I doing, because I want to be better. I want to be in a better place. Um and I am doing the things that I feel is going to lead me to the results I want. And after this experience I had, it just really kind of put things in perspective, and I started having a little bit of doubt. Not really doubt. Yes, it was doubt on what I'm doing. Like, is this, the actions I'm taking for the results I'm getting at this juncture of it? It just seems like it just can't be. It just seems like, how can that be the right recipe to get to where I'm trying to go? Because the manner in which I'm taking action just seems like it's gonna take a lot of time. Now, this is a recipe though that has been done before, but I don't know. So I was just kind of going through these doubts of, man, is this, you know, should I concentrate more on my writing, and put out some of the stuff I'm trying to write it, this comic book and some of this other stuff I got going? Should I concentrate kind of more on that than just this posting after post after post I've been doing to build, to build people who want to learn more about this information that we talk about every week, and to touch more people and add more value to people's lives. It just, I don't know. It just seems like I had a lot of doubt. And not even like, I'm very confident in what I'm doing, and I enjoy doing it. And this is all adding to what I'm doing every week and everything else I'm doing. But it just seems the recipe for success. I just felt like, man, could there be other things I could be concentrating on and build on? And I did kind of rechange a little, not change what I'm doing, but just focusing on what I need to do to finish all of these things, so I could be at a place of confidence of finishing and setting up a platform to touch more people and start elevating this to a place where, I feel like heading towards my main game and my next goals. But doubt, you have to, this is why it's really important to clearly define what you want. I think this is in every podcast. Clearly define what you want. Because if you don't know what you want, you don't even know if you're taking the right actions. And the good thing is, everything I want to do and everything I enjoy doing is all in the same, wheelhouse of what the actions I like to take, and what I think are what I know my next logical hustles are to achieve my main game. And if you're not sure what main game is and next logical hustles, check the description in the video and download the daily takeoff checklist and just read it. And you'll start to see what I'm talking about, how important this tool is to keep your vibration at a point that doubt gets harder to creep in for you. And even for myself, I haven't been doing the daily takeoff checklist every day like I should be. I haven't been. And now I'm susceptible to these moments where I'm out in public dealing with people. And people I know and people in my life that I'm trying to have a better situation in my life to spend more time with people and be in a better place. Not really spend more time with people, but just be in a better place that I could see my daughter more and have a stable home, more of a stable place, and just really get to the next level of stability, because I'm in a stable place, but it's time to get to the next phase. So that's just kind of the experience I've kind of had recently, where doubt started coming in. I doubting the process. Doubting if what I'm doing is the right recipe to get to where I want, which it is, because it's lining up with everything I'm doing. And I'm not saying I'm quitting or changing. I just really put things in perspective, and maybe even hungrier. What am I doing? Is there anything else I could be doing to make this process better, speed it up, attract more opportunities, create more opportunities. There was some doubt in there, and how I was able to. So this is what I said. So this is what I did. I came home and I cleaned my house, because that's what I do when I'm in a moment where I got slapped in the face a little bit, by having a personal experience that's close to the heart. And I come home and I have to clean my house because when my home is like super clean and everything is in the right place where it's supposed to be, mentally my vibration and my energy is automatic, mellow and chill. And I just like to operate at home, especially when I'm in a place where I'm having some doubts on what I'm doing and I need to raise my vibration. I clean. And my clean home raises my vibration, and it makes it easier for me to be in the place where now I need to soak in the rest of this doubt. And then I need to turn my back to it and start blasting what I'm going to do about it. And I had the same thing at Thanksgiving. And then, went to this, I had an experience this week and kind of got slapped in the face again about what am I doing and how am I getting there. And man, it's taken this time. But I was able, but coming home and cleaning and vibrating at a high level again, I was able to change that and really focus on what I need to do to close this year out and what I'm trying to achieve. So I know myself. I know myself well enough to know what I need to do to raise my vibration in the moments where I'm questioning what I'm doing, questioning things. Those moments when I'm going through life and I'm getting slapped in the face, like, I just, everyone around me thinks I need to just do the basic thing and work for someone else the rest of my life and invest in a 401k plan. And that's not going to, and for what I want to achieve in my life, that's not going to allow me to achieve it. That's just not anywhere near what I want for the rest of my life. But when I'm in those moments, I know what I need to do to raise my vibration when I'm in those moments where I need to get back to my normal vibration. And for myself, it's just cleaning my home and then walking around in it and thinking about what created this doubt. I'm walking back and forth. I even have my lights set up a certain way to where if I need to read the daily takeoff checklist in the morning, I can read the pages, and I have my lights a certain way where there's a chill mode. I got certain colors that mean different things. I know what I need to do to raise my vibration. So anyway, so I keep walking, but I'm walking around my clean home. That makes me vibrate at it just makes me chill. It chills me out to walk around in a clean home. My energy is very relaxed, and I feel like in those moments, it's when I do my best thinking, where I really get in tune with my path and what I'm doing. And 99.9% of achieving success is your thoughts and your mindset and your thinking and your thinking of the actions you need to take to really create the energy of attracting what you want, or even those opportunities that you can't see that leads you towards what you want. So a really good tip for everybody watching is find out what you can do that helps you raise your vibration, that you can do. Maybe it's going for a walk, getting out in the wilderness and nature, focusing on things far away. smiling, laughing. You like comedies and laughing. You go and you watch a comedy and the laughing helps mellow your vibration, that now you could turn that off and now focus on changing your doubt vibrations when you're in those moments. I think it's a really good tool to have, to know yourself enough to know what to do to raise your vibrations when you're in moments where you're being tested and you have doubt.
Yeah, it's a tricky one too, because a lot of times when we get in this doubt piece, at least from what I've noticed and from just listening to Will early before we got on the show here, it's like we're basically upset that we're not there. And I think the confusion is between how long you've wanted to be at that point and you've had this goal in mind, as opposed to how long you've truly been working, taking action, having the right mindset, and doing it consistently for. And so just because you've wanted it for the last 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, how long have you actually been working on it with the right mindset and consistently taking action for? And a lot of times you can tell yourself it might not even be at all. For some of you, it could be zero. Hell, I've been making beats and music, and Will and I together, for 25 years, or at least close, Yeah, 25, 26, 27 years. Anyway, but consistently being mad that I can't believe I'm not like super famous, and it's like, well, how long have you been consistently doing that for? I've just been doing it for 25 years. It's like, yeah, really? I mean, because I know you had a kid and took 7 years off of doing anything. You didn't even get in the studio. Like, the fuck you think you're actually gonna get there doing nothing? Like because you did it something hard for 3 months before at one point? Yeah, at one point I was doing it consistently hardcore for like 3 months. I even had my own rock battle page. Like it's like at some point it's like at one point I had like 6 songs on MySpace. At some point you go, no, that's not consistently. You have to get years in of consistently doing it. Anybody you've looked up to didn't go, well, how long have you been doing this for? 3 months and then I made it. It's like, no, these guys have been doing it for a long time, dealing with the same doubt we're dealing with. But the problem is a lot of times you compare the amount of abundance and the amount of accolades, the amount of traction you should have made, and the duration of time that you've wanted to do it, when you should be looking for the fruits of the labor that you have had when you've been taking the right action with the right mindset consistently. How long was that? Well, that's only really, if you really be honest with yourself, for me it's 2 years, but I've been doing it for 25. Yet I'm expecting 25 years of fruits. And now I'm upset and a little bit feeling like a failure because I don't see 25 years of fruits in front of me, and that's who I want to walk in that gym with. I want to walk in that gym like I've been doing this shit for 25 years consistently with the right mindset, hammering down. And I should be able to hold my head like I'm doing that. It's like, nah, hold your head like the person who's been doing it for the last 3 months. Instead you're expecting the results of how long you've wanted it and you've been talking. How long have you been walking for, though? How long have you been actually taking action? Now expect that much fruits, and you'll probably have a lot less doubt, but more or less a lot less like feeling of like you failed. Because really, like, even for myself, like for the last 2 years, I've actually done a pretty good job of like branding and getting myself where I need to be. And I can be honest with myself. I know if I had been doing what I've been doing the last 2 years for the whole time I've actually wanted what I'm saying I wanted for 25 years, I would be way in a different place. But you can't kind of like dip your toe in a little bit and then get out and then dip your toe in, but been dipping your toes in the water and not jumping in full head first for 30 years, just dipping your toe and thinking about it, dipping your toe, but not really ever getting all in. You can't expect the all in fruits. It's like people they're like, well, I'm trying to balance life and that. And it's like, well, you're trying to balance, you're going to get that balance. If you put in 2% of the time on your dreams and the other time you're putting in from working and feeding the kids and mowing the lawn, well, shit. That's what you're going to keep. What you've been working for. If you 98% of the time you've been doing feeding the kids, going to work, and mowing the lawn, and 2% on your goals, you get 2% of what the fruits of the goals get, which is nothing. It's 2%. You've got to sacrifice something. You've got to make that something substantial. And I think about it for me, like I'm like, man, what am I doing? I'm X amount of years old, and why am I doing this? Like, what am I thinking? And then I think, well, what else am I doing with my life? Am I gonna watch Netflix and be like a pro freaking TV show watcher? Am I gonna be the top streaming, watching person on the earth? I've streamed so many channels, and I just basically watch nonstop. I'm a consuming machine now because. What else are you going to do with your time? But I think a lot of the slippery slope that makes you feel like you failed or that you're not there or it's not happening fast enough is because you created an arbitrary goal that is just some random number that popped in your head. You didn't logically think of how long that would take and what specific steps you would take because you didn't clearly define where you wanted to be, or what that looked like. But you didn't take those necessary steps. And you made a random goal. I've had a friend tell me if we don't get this thing done by this date, we'll never make it to the Grammys. And it was like 1 month from the Grammys. Like, your music had to be out the whole last year. Like, but that person created an arbitrary random number of how many songs they want done by this date. And where did you come up with that number? Do you know how long it takes to make a song? Right? So do you know how long it takes to do this? Do you know how long it's going to take to do that? No, right? So you don't know. So you're creating random numbers in your head and saying those are the goals. Because you haven't done enough thought behind strategically planning what you're going to do to achieve those things. So what happens is we create arbitrary goals and numbers, and now you've created a perception of failure in your mind, that you failed and that it's not working. Now you think it's just not working. I remember I had a motorcycle when I was a kid, and I got to ride my stepdad's motorcycle. I had a 125 RM 125 Suzuki, and I rode the shit out of that bike. And then one day my stepdad said, "You can ride my RM 400." So I rode that thing for a whole week, every day after school, just nonstop riding. Got on my dirt bike, and I thought it was broken. Something was wrong with this thing. It's not moving. It's not going fast. Something's wrong. I created in my head this arbitrary idea of how fast it should respond, how fast it should go, because I was so used to that other bike. But I thought it was broken. Well, when you create this mindset or this thought that you're going to be a superstar by 10 years old, and then you're 11 and you're like, I'm a failure. Like, well, where'd you get the number 10 from? You're creating random numbers, but you're not creating true, honest goals of how long it takes. And if you put everything into it, you're not sitting around thinking of these things and how you're going to get there and putting enough time into it. That's why you got to clearly define where you're trying to go. Then you got to say, clearly define where you're going to go with your family for a vacation, right? You're not going to go, it's Disney World, Disneyland, it could be Hawaii, and I might go to Niagara Falls. Now let's create a map to get there. It's like, well, which one? We got to pick one, right? Clearly defining. So pick one. Okay, Niagara Falls. All right. Now you don't just say Niagara Falls. You figure out a map if you're driving there. Are we going to go through Colorado? Are we going to go through Montana? Are we going through Wyoming? Are we going down what are we trying to see on the way there? And then you strategically plan how you're going to get there. How long is it going to take? You're like, well, typically I get tired after, like, I want to say I could drive for a freaking 24 hours, but really I get tired after 8, maybe 6. I want to go to a hotel. How long is this going to take? And you literally plan that out. Why haven't you not planned your dream out that way? So next thing you know, you get in the car and you start driving to Niagara Falls, and you're pissed that you didn't get there in the 5 days you thought it would take. But you never sat down and clearly figured out how long it was going to take. Realistically said, I'm probably going to get tired. We're probably going to want to see this. The kids are probably going to have to piss 15 million times. You know, we're going to have to go here. We're going to have to go eat. We're going to have to get gas. You know, we might have a blown tire. You're not thinking of any of these things along the way. So then when you don't get there and this random number you put in your head, you now start doubting yourself and you start feeling like, I'm a failure. We're not going to have a good time at Niagara Falls. It's already past the amount of time. We're only going to get to spend 2 days there instead of the 4 I thought we were going to be able to spend because it's taking longer to drive. And now you feel like a failure. And now your whole experience is like you're a failure. That's what happens with your dreams. You fail to plan. You know, and that means plan to fail, you know, because the realistic thing is you haven't put enough time into it to really understand how long this is going to take, what it's going to be, and then you start feeling like a failure. You have a random number you put in your head. That's what arbitrary means. You just put this random number you just picked out of the sky. You said, oh, I'll be there in 4 years. I'll be famous. And if I don't get there in 4 years, then next thing you know, 4 years hits and you feel like a failure. You feel like a loser. You get down on yourself and you start literally rethinking a new goal, something easier and faster. Well, realizing really in this world, nothing big is easy and fast. Or everybody would be a bazillionaire famous person if it was easy and fast. You know, people with Barack Obama, oh my God, first black president, oh, you just got it. So it's like, you don't think about the 30 years you spent not being that president. You know, of really working through the ranks, having to deal with, he's the only guy that looks like that in the freaking room. In every room, nonstop, every day, day in, day out, and he has to break those barriers nonstop, day in, day out, all the way till where he finally gets into the White House. All of that time of literally being shit on, you don't think doubt was in his head? You know, there's so much. I mean, because he probably had an arbitrary number in his head. I'm gonna get here, and that's normal. That's normal, but I've done it too. I'm like, man, I can't believe because I did this, the arbitrary numbers. I'm going to create this thing and it's going to work the first fucking time and it's going to make me so much money. I'm not going to ever have to work for anybody. Put it out. No, it doesn't even come near paying my shit. They don't come near paying my bills. In fact, I paid more money for it than anything. I was just giving out free shit. Like, it's like, because I created a number in my head. I said, this is going to work and this is how much it's going to be. And I'm going to make so much money. And I remember calling Will and was like, to tell me you made $1 million already. It's like, not even a fraction of that. Not even a freaking millionth of it. You know what I mean? It's like no, I've had one sale at this point, you know, like, but like the point is, it's these random numbers that can have you doubting yourself and feeling like a failure. And I'm saying some of that might be because you keep comparing what you want for the fruits. You're expecting the fruits of how long you wanted it as opposed to how long you've really truly been working on it, truly been making the effort, you know, period. You know, it's like my kid the other night. He's been playing the drums lately, and so I've been jamming with him. And I'm just like going all squirrely on the guitar. He's playing the drums. I'm like, and he stops me and he says, "Dad, is this how we get good? Or do you stop dicking around on the guitar and get serious and let's start practicing?" He literally said, and I said, "You're right. Let's focus." It looks and it's like I can't believe we're not great musicians. I mean, we've just been diddling around all over the guitar, going blah, 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 blah. You know, like he's like, no, is this how we get good? Get on that guitar, focus on it, be specific about what we're trying to do, and put in the work. you know. And basically he said that in just a couple words. Is this how we get good? He basically regurgitating my words to him, but you know, like understanding that he was able to identify, dude, you're just messing around on the guitar and you're gonna wonder why you still are 44 years old and you're not. I can play guitar, but I wouldn't call myself great, right? Because I would rather just go hear that thing get real crunchy and loud and whoa, I'm like, yeah, this is cool. I'm awesome. Okay, I'm over it. Let's go watch some Netflix. You know, so and then go like, man, I've been playing guitar for freaking 29 years and how come I'm not great? Well, you have to sit down. How long have you been consistently hammering down, being focused, knowing exactly what you're trying to do? And like I said, my kid looked at me and was like, is this how we get good? Because that's not what you told me, you know? And I'm like, you're right. Let's get good, you know? And I've gotten better just in the last week jamming out with him, you know? Literally just having to play the same song over and over and over again until you get it right, you know? But the same thing with your dreams, goals, or whatever you want to call them, however you want to label it. Stop thinking about how long you've wanted to do it and start really comparing what the fruits are before you get down on yourself of how long you've actually been doing it. Did you really think that you were going to be there in 2 years? You were going to be rich? Holy shit. And you're going to give up after 2 years and re-frickin' navigate to a new thing and start all over on something new? After 2 years, well, fuck, man. I don't think anything happens before 2 years for you, and no matter how many things you keep switching to, you know what I mean? Like for anybody out there, it's like you can't go, oh no, that didn't work in 2 years. I better go. You know, it's like, guess what? The next thing might not be working in 2 years either. Are you going to keep switching? Because eventually you'll find yourself far down the road. You got to literally stick it out and really be realistic about what 2 years of work will give you. 2 years of working hard will give you, you know? I could say if you've been doing it consistently and hard for 5 years and you don't see any freaking fruits at all, and you truly can say honestly you've done everything you can possibly do, yeah, you might want to think of something else. You might want to say, do I just love doing this and this is why I do it? You know, for me, the reason I stuck with music even after doing it for 20 some odd years was because I could be honest with myself and say, look, I know for a fact I didn't put in all the effort I could have put in. So this didn't not work because the cards didn't play out for me. It's because I didn't do shit. I took 7 years off because I had a kid. You know? I freaking, you know, right when I'm working with Snoop Dogg, I've actually got some success. And then instead of kicking in hardcore, I took 7 years off right when I started literally got a different job. I had a kid, so I thought I better take some shit serious. And that level up and that type of job was so taxing that I just couldn't even think about making music. I tried, you know, but it was like, I just am stressed out and I can't even think musically. But in that same sense, it's like, I could tell myself, honestly, I didn't do anything for the last 7 years. And so that's 7 years of your life, you know, that's very close to 10 years. You start going, well, I'm 40, you know, well, yeah, you would have been 30, and had you kept going, you would have been 40 with 10 years of a hammer down, and where would you be at 40? And you'd be, you know, so really think about the fruits of what you've actually been putting forth as true, honest effort and consistency, as opposed to how long you thought you were doing it, how long you thought you wanted whatever it was. And you might have less doubt, you know, but like I said, even me, man, I still have a number in my head. I still know that I wanted it at 18. I wanted to be there at 18, but I didn't do any of the work at 18. You know what I mean? I didn't do any of the real work at 18, so I wanted it, you know? It's like I wanted a Lamborghini at 5, but I didn't do shit to get a Lamborghini, you know? So, and for years after. So, you're going to want it, but that don't mean shit. What are you doing about it, you know? But you'll get down on yourself and you'll start doubting yourself. But I think some of these things of realigning your mind as to, look, You doubt yourself because you're not seeing the results you want to see, but are you being realistic about the results you should be seeing? So once you get honest with yourself about the results you should be seeing, you might have less doubt. That's kind of helped me to kind of go, you know, realistically, it's only been 2 years of hard work. It hasn't been 25, because I'm like, man, I'm 40 some years old and here I am, I'm not. And it's like, yeah, but you're 40 something, but you ain't been doing it for 40 something years. You've only been really doing it for freaking 2, you know. And I know if this was the same Rob doing it for 2 years when I got hooked up with Snoop Dogg, I would have been able to freaking totally take advantage of that opportunity. And I would have totally been able to lock in and make that work out. But Rob at the time was just a kid tinkering with beats in the basement, you know, making my little rap songs and kind of just figuring it out. Didn't have the right mindset, you know, didn't have anything in place. But yeah, I'm still in that doubt area too. Still going, I don't know, what the hell am I doing? Because I'm like, at some point you've been telling those people for so long around you, the people that probably don't support you, but the people that are at least around you that you've been telling that same story, crying wolf to, in a sense. You're like, oh, I'm about to be rich, I got this new idea. They're like, oh my god, another freaking new idea. There he is with a new idea and he's gonna be rich in 3 months. Oh my god, this guy with his new ideas. Why can't we just talk regular shit, like I worked at my job and my boss was mean to me? You know, like it's like, can we talk about the freaking new Stranger Things show that we watched on Netflix? You know, like, and then here I am, and imagine a person like me talking shit to those kind of people for just wanting to be regular. You know, I'm being like, you're gonna watch some more Netflix, and they're like, well, my Netflix watching is getting the same results, all your super fucking hard work that you're you're badass, you know, making beats, you're making moves, and you're doing all these things, and you and I both have the same amount of money, so shut the fuck up, you know, like, it's like at some point you just be like, yeah, you're over there playing video games all day, and they're like, you're over there making beats all day, and where are you at and where am I at? I don't see your Lamborghini, so shut the hell up, right? And so that's what Will's talking about. That starts to wear on you, where you're like, man, I want to fucking, here I am talking that shit, I want to show up in the Lamborghini already. Like, can I be in the Lamborghini? To where they're like, oh, I see, me watching Netflix all day is dumb, and that's why you had the Lamborghini. But now you're just the guy talking shit, because at the end of the day, you don't have the fruits, you know. But you got to understand, you're just in the mud right now. You're in the mud. And you just got to keep digging. You just keep digging, and that's, anybody out there, give 5 true years at something. Give 5 years of hardcore sacrifice and consistency, and you're gonna see some fruits. And I know I will. I'm only 2 years in. It might be 2.5 years now, but I'm only, what I think is, with my random math, 2 years in, and it's like, you know, I know in 3 more years of this, like Will says, I do these videos. It takes, so does Will on Instagram. It takes forever to do, like a month of chopping and shooting the videos and cut my hair, cut all this crap to be like presentable, and take all this time to shoot these videos and get good at whatever I gotta get good at, and put them up, and you get like 3 people like your video. So you're like, okay, that took me a month just to create that content, but I could put a picture of like a rock up and get like 25 likes. But I spent a month on this video for beats and shit, where I'm like making these beats, it's all cool, I got all these transitions, and I get 2 likes. Like, damn, man, I put a picture of, like, that takes me no time, that I maybe
a picture of a rock, and it's literally like that.
Everybody's like, dude, that's cool, man.
Oh my god, it's amazing.
Amazing rock. And you're like, you didn't see my 3 posts ago where I did that video that took me a month to shoot and edit? Like, you motherfuckers. thousands of dollars in gear, you know,
That's exactly how it works.
And that's
It's a
discouraging.
nightmare.
It's discouraging. You just want to be like, you know what? I give up, but I'd say to you guys, you give up, and then what are you gonna do with your time? What else were you gonna do?
Yeah, so tricky thing about putting a time limit on your goals, because man, I'm like 3 weeks to I'm like 2 weeks to my New Year's kind of resolution, my New Year's goals I wanted to create. You know, and how I slept off the first 3 months of the year, switching it up. Man, it took me almost a year just to clearly define everything, and oh man, and then actually commit to the correct logical hustles because I clearly defined what I wanted. Man, it's so important to do these steps. But what I want to kind of like be careful putting a time frame on your goals too, because you get close to the time. And maybe that's what's going on. I'm getting closer to the time, and now I might be having some doubts of achieving these things I want because my time is up. The time on my goals is up in a couple weeks, and I categorically cannot tell you how I am going to achieve my goals by the end of the year. But I just have a knowingness that I am. That's it. But doubt, now that the time is coming, I got 2 weeks and the time is up, you know, I got some doubt coming in, you know, of man, did I take enough action? Am I doing the right things? This particular process sucks. Maybe I need to do more writing. Maybe I need to concentrate on these books. Maybe have a better product that draws more attention. You know,
it's crazy because at some point you have to realize even that is what's teaching you a lesson. Like going like, man, this isn't working out. Here I am at my goal. Whatever happens in that piece of time will make or break you. How you maneuver in that, whether you start something new, you figure it out, you keep sticking to your guns, or you give up. That's what'll make or break you. Because no, if you give up at that point where you go like, what the fuck, man, screw this, what am I doing? I'm changing it up, or I'm just done. And then guess what? You do something new, and guess what? When that doesn't happen on this arbitrary time you picked, what are you gonna do? Stop and say, man, this ain't working either. I quit. I did the same exact thing. I had this like YouTube, I still do, YouTube channel, and it's supposed to drive traffic to my website to sell music and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, man, this thing ain't working either. I'm like, nothing is working. And then I'm like, well, when's the last time you put a beat up on your YouTube? I'm like, 7 months. Like, oh, well, how do you think that was going to work with you not actually doing the work? Like, you're not even doing the system. It's like you're saying you're gonna dig a 7-foot deep hole, yet you haven't picked the shovel up. You haven't even started digging, and you're like, damn, man, this hole ain't even dug yet. I'm not even down to 7 feet. It's like, well, did you pick that shovel up and keep digging? You haven't been digging, bro. You ain't dug in 7 months. The fuck? What are you thinking, man? Are you thinking shit just magically gonna fall in your lap? Because that's what you better hope for if you're gonna do that same type of action. And so I have so many things going on. That's the slippery slope about having so many things, that I'm doing these videos, I'm doing these marketing funnels, I'm doing all this shit to where, do I ever have enough time to spend enough time on one thing and make that one thing happen? Or am I over here 3 months on this, and then 2 months on that, and then 2 months on this, and then really everything is kind of half-assed. It's a bunch of shit happening half-assed. 3 months here, 2 months there. Instead of non-stop on one thing, hammer it home, and make it happen. It's like somebody going, yeah, I work on my jump shot 2 months, and then the other 2 months I work on like taking snaps from my center and throwing the ball to the tight end on football, and then 2 months of the year I focus on wrestling, and then in the summers I think about like mountain biking, and then you're not good at any of this shit. The guys that really make it go, I quit all sports and I'm doing this one sport, and I'm going to hammer the shit out of this one thing. And I can honestly say I haven't, truly hammered down on one thing. With marketing, of course, that's not that. But I have rethought and really sat down with myself and said, look, you're going to start doing all the stuff you need to do consistently. Of course, at the beginning of my journey, and this is my justification, I had to put a lot of platforms in place, which takes the bulk of work at the front load of work. That's all done. But now I've got to be consistent. And that's the one thing I can say I'm not, is consistent with one thing. I'm consistently doing shit, but none of it is on one thing. So if you're consistently you're gonna paint your car, but you're start painting the door of your car, and then go over and paint your truck, and then over there go paint your dirt bike, and then go over here and paint the side of the house, and then go over here and paint your dog. Like at some point nothing's finished painted. It's like a bunch of things, you're just kind of spreading yourself so thin, nothing's happening. You aren't completing anything, and that's kind of where I was, most of it being front loaded workload to get these whole platforms in place. But like now it's time to just sit down and consistently do this work, but I've seen some stuff. I've got some guys I've been messing with. They're in New York right now working with Jim Jones, a famous rapper from Dipset and all that stuff, and they just did a shot of video with him. They're literally yesterday, and and I'm now like working that whole angle, like the networking piece, but it's like the other one, we got Mike Jones, and consistently doing these things, and you can start seeing, okay, now I see all that work, and how like if this works out, I'm ready for that opportunity, if it should work. If not, who cares? But the point is consistently doing something, but you've got to be very, very specific on what you're doing, or you're gonna get down and down on yourself and literally start doubting. But you got to be honest with yourself. Ask yourself, have you truly been doing everything, before you give yourself the doubt, before you say abandon ship, before you say this is the wrong route. Honestly ask yourself, have I been doing everything I could be doing? And every time I do that, I always answer exactly like this. Nope. I have not been doing everything. I, as a guy who preaches this shit all the time, have not been doing everything I could possibly be doing. What am I doing wrong? Because people go, well, Rob, you hammer down nonstop. And I'm like, exactly. Nonstop on 70 different things. So I'm one vigorous, working, passionate person working on a million things, which is half-ass everything, right? It's a what do they call it? A something of something, a master of none, like whatever the hell they call that. But you're basically master of nothing,
Yeah.
So be honest with yourself. Ask yourself, have I truly been doing everything I could have been doing towards something? And for me, mine is I spread myself so thin. And my new commitment to myself is to do the things that are needed to get those things done. If it's an Instagram thing, I need to be in everybody's DMs, and I need to be hitting these guys up and saying, yo, I like this, and then I've been doing that, and I'm starting to see this traction. But like, am I doing it enough? No. I'm not doing it more than even an hour a day. Hell, I'm not doing it 20 minutes a day. What am I being successful at? My e-commerce business that I put all the time into. Okay, cool. Well, now you'll be an e-commerce eBay kid. There you go. It's like, oh fuck, But you have to go. What have you do? And now I find these things where I like challenge with like work my wife balance, whatever the hell that we call, like the relationship balance. And finally today was like, look, man, she's checking her phone out the whole time, dude. Get your ass upstairs and get these goals done and accomplished, and start doing that consistently. Stop consistently have excuses where I'm like, well, my wife's here now, she got off work early, so I guess we'll spend some time together, make some dinner. And then you find yourself doing the dinner, and then you get tired after dinner, and you're like, maybe tomorrow. And then tomorrow becomes tomorrow, and that equals a year, and then 10 years, and then eventually you're 90 and you die, if you're lucky to make it that long. But that's the big thing, is like, and for me, I started going, what, I'm done. I'm going upstairs and I'm going to hammer down my shit. I'm going to get my stuff going, because at some point you're going to be so far off that arbitrary number that you're going to give up, Doubt is a mother, man. So and that's where I'm at now, going, man, it's almost like regret for all these years I didn't, and now here I am, this age. Sure, you've been hammered down 2 years, but you're going, this is going to take 5 years to even see something moving. Hell, I'll be 50, and then the next thing you're going to go like, oh man, what the hell? And then, now I'm a 50-year-old talking this same crap. You can't be 50 talking about a Lamborghini. You need to be talking about stocks and bonds and having a career, and, like, at some point, you got to get out of your head and just go, look, I'm me. People are going to understand that about me. And I started thinking about like a guy who's 65 and business dressed, and he's got his stocks together, he's got his commercial properties, and then you got a guy that's got a ponytail, gray, looking like George Carlin, and like a little soul patch, and he's still rocking and rolling. When that guy's still rocking and rolling, you're like, this is a cool ass dude, right? He's 65, you're like, man, that's a cool ass dude, 65 and rocking and rolling, and you don't really like, oh, this guy's an idiot, looking at me 65 and still trying to be cool. No, you just go, that's a cool ass 65-year-old dude. I started thinking that. I started thinking about like Ricky, Snoop's uncles, like, that dude's out there jamming out. He's a bass player in bands. I mean, the guy's 60 some odd years old, and he's popping all over the place, you know what I mean? Doing shows every night, like literally he has almost enough money to not have to work a regular job, but just because he's such a fucking hard worker and he can't do gigs during the day, he goes and works. Then at night he's out there jamming every night. You start going, you're not like, oh, what is he thinking? He's 60 and he's still out playing in bands at night. You're not thinking that. You're like, this guy's dope. So you got to get out of your head, and that's more kind of specific to me, feeling like, man, I'm too old to be like talking about making it in music. And and when I really think about it, it's like, I have made it. I've worked with Snoop Dogg, like what, Dog Pound, all that. Like what, like, you're there, so what, how much more do you need to do that to feel like you've accomplished something, So again, you can hear me just in the red flags, or whatever you want to call them, tones of like doubt. It happens to all of us, but I think I'll end it with that. Just be honest with yourself. How hard have you been working on what you're going for, and have you been consistent? Or are you upset that it hasn't happened in the duration of time you've wanted it to happen? Like me, I'm 44. I wanted it at 16, 17. It hasn't happened yet. And I'm like, oh, since I was 16, I've been dicking with this. No, you haven't been working. Now, if you were 16 and you've been working your ass off every day consistently with the right mindset for 25 years, yes. Okay, yes. You probably want to give up, or think of something else. But, like, if you've truly been doing it for 20 some odd years, there's an outlying reason you're not making it. Either you suck at music or whatever it is you're trying to do. You're just not that guy or girl, But be honest with yourself on those deadlines. I think that's all I have on that,
Yeah, me too.
So if you start doubting yourself, you're totally normal. That's understood. Anything big is you're gonna have doubts and things come in your mind. I just watched a guy who it took 16 years for this mountain climber to hit all 14 of these peaks and summit all of them. This guy did it all in 6 months, 6 days, and knocked it out the park. Just summited on. But even him, he said by this certain number. And it was getting deadline. He's thinking he's not going to make it. And like, what is he thinking? Is he really the real guy? Meanwhile, he's just crushing these hills. Like, it's like, you're going to doubt yourself. It's normal. Be realistic. And based on the arbitrary goals you're trying to complete, these arbitrary numbers and places you're trying to be, ask yourself if you truly put in the work, and tell yourself the real reason why you're not there. It's not because that goal is stupid. It's not that you shouldn't be there. It's, not that it's too big of a thing to feat to do. It's possible, and you're just not doing the work. And it's very easy to separate yourself from, this is impossible. It's just not going to happen. I need to try something else. It's like, well, ask yourself, if I put in the same amount of work and effort and consistency into this new endeavor, is that going to work? No, because you didn't do shit in the first one. So if you don't do shit like you didn't on this first one, it ain't going to happen in your next one. So if you put in the same effort, ask yourself, if I put in the same effort and consistency for X amount of time in this new thing, will it work? And when you realize you didn't do anything and you said you wanted it, but you mostly watched Netflix and kicked it with your homies and played video games, kicking it with your homies and, watching Netflix isn't going to work on your next goal either. So is it the goal or is it you that is not possible, right? So ask yourself that next time you start to doubt. And when I say doubt, it's doubt the process. If you're doubting yourself, that's a whole nother thing. I don't ever doubt myself, but I sometimes doubt, like, what the fuck am I doing? Is this the right path? I don't doubt myself. If you're doubting yourself, you need this information. You need the daily check off. Damn it. You need the daily take off checklist.
Yes.
Stupid ass name. Takeoff. What am I taking off? So
blasting off. Take
off. Hey man, I'll remember it now. You're taking off for the day. Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
Daily take off.
Like you're taking off of the list. Like,
no.
Okay, daily take. I didn't know why that thing was. I just knew the
daily take off.
I knew the name. I couldn't understand.
Blasting our day off.
But the content has always been great. So you need that kind of stuff. So this work or this information helps build yourself to not have doubt in yourself. So I don't doubt myself. I have doubt in the journey. But then I have to be honest about my journey and ask, have I truly been taking the necessary steps consistently to be even on that journey? I hope I didn't confuse it more than it had to be confused, but something we've been dealing with at the same time. So kind of wanted to share that with everyone.
Yeah.
Please like, comment,
that's all I've got.
Hit that notification bell. Deuces.
Look at